Welcome back for another book review. Today we're talking about this one. So this is the Wheel of the Year Companion, Rituals for Celebrating Pagan Festivals of the Season. And I have absolutely no how did this name. I don't even know what language, but definitely don't know how to pronounce it. Though to be honest, I feel like that's gonna be a problem going into the future where everyone just has such whack spelling on their names that it's like, I don't even know, dude. If you've never seen some of these names, it's fun. Go watch some TikToks from nurses in like labor and delivery who are having to deal with these names and they're like, no, just no. So this one, kind of as the title suggests, I don't know why it says companion, because it's not a companion to any book. It's just been titled differently, because when you get to the publication page, because again, we read every page over here, you have it as it was previously published with like, the material was originally published as The Ultimate Guide to the Witch's Wheel of the Year, and then it also is in the Library of Congress for that same title. So I don't know why it's the companion when it sounds like it's just they rebranded the same thing. I don't know why it's a companion. Doesn't sound like it goes with the other, I don't know. But this book goes over, as the title suggests, the Wheel of the Year. It has each one, there's a lot of pictures, by the way. This book has a lot of printed pictures. They're actually really pretty artwork. But each one has these correspondence pages, and it goes over a little bit of what it's about. So you have like altar decorations, animals, celebrations, colors, deities, directions, elements, food and drink, herbs, incense, and oils, musical instruments, which was like, I never thought about it, but okay. Like the most I could give you is like, for Samhain, probably gonna be in a minor key. That's about it. Doesn't matter the instrument, just play it in minor. And then for like Yule, you're probably gonna have bells, because, you know, sleigh bells ring. But that's about it. Then you also have stones, symbols, themes, trees, zodiac, and planets. Like I said, lots of pictures, but they're also really pretty, but kind of like this dark tone to it. And it goes over a variety of things. Sometimes it's stories, so you have like the story of Lou a little bit, you have the Oak King and the Holly King, you've got just a little bit here and there of like, sometimes it's, you know, it doesn't go into every single one basically, but it has some for each of them. It also goes over different crafts that you can do, and then there are like kind of more kitchen witchery, so sometimes it's like a brew you can make or food or whatever, just like different options of things to make. And then it also has rituals and spells to do. I give this one a 4 out of 5. I think it's a really good reference guide for the Wheel of the Year. Is it the be-all end-all? No. But honestly, I feel like the Wheel of the Year is pretty complex. The more books we have on it, the better. Because you get different ideas and different ways to celebrate. Everyone has their own take. Everyone just tweaks it just a little bit. Some different, you know, some different recipe or a different deity or something. And honestly, that's one of the reasons that I really love the Wheel of the Year. It's one of my favorite parts of being a witch. And so this is just one of those that it has a lot of ideas. Is it stuff I would necessarily always do? No, but it did give me ideas, which is good. And so I am very intrigued by this book. I think it's got a lot of good information in here. Is there some stuff that I was like, like why? But, and like, why didn't you include this one versus that one? You know, like, but it's, I guess, personal preference within like, specifically the pantheons. Like, you know, you got your deities listed and there was the Norse, but also sometimes you were like, but why that one? Like, I think it was for the spring equinox, they have Freya listed, and it's like, okay, but like, most of the Norse people I know and in our house, like, you celebrate with Idun, the goddess of apples and immortality and the maiden, and like, she's the polar opposite to hell, but okay, just like little things like that, where you're like, sure, but on a whole, it's like minor little things like that. It was a pretty good book. I did feel like there was a lot of pictures in here that didn't always really feel completely, I don't know, they were kind of related, but like, in some of the ingredients, I'm like, I don't know that like how easy that's gonna be to get, but I don't know, it felt like there's a lot of pictures involved, you know, especially when it goes past the halfway page, it's like, really? And then you've got some that are like the full page. It just feels like this is already a small book and it padded out more with full page pictures, but whatever. It's minor nitpicky things. The other thing is one of my usual pet peeves. There's no conclusion. You just get to the end and you're like, okay, bye, I guess. And then it goes into acknowledgements and then the index, and there is no information where she got at all. Just nothing. No recommended, no sources, bibliography. I mean, people usually list it differently. Every book kind of, maybe its publishing house has different titles for it. I usually just say sources. But like, you know, everyone usually will have that, some label for it of where did you get your information, and there is nothing. But there was thankfully at least a few reminders here and there of like, and actually there was one that I really appreciated. For the life of me, I cannot remember which one it was, but it was like some brew you were making, and it talked about how it's like, hey, if you're doing anything with children's and the creation of them, don't use this. Like, and it was nice. It was like, if you're trying to get pregnant, if you're pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, or if you are going to be going under IVF treatments. And I was like, oh my God, my world, look at that. So I appreciated that work because normally it's not really talked about. And I liked that verbiage because it also is kind of inclusive if you're going through a surrogate, because like maybe you or your partner is going to be doing some of the donation part of that and you're not purchasing because that is so expensive. So like for me, I would have to pay attention to that because potentially I would be using my eggs. And so, you know, me and hubby, who would be using his sperm, wouldn't be able to do this thing because it might influence our IVF chances before it goes into our lovely surrogate to be. At some point, don't worry, we're absolutely not anywhere near that because it's expensive. And also I want to have a bigger living space before we do that. But anyways, it was really nice to have that included because it's usually not. I don't know that I've found that in any of the witchcraft books yet, where it's like an actual like, hey, IVF folks, just so you know. It's not something you see all the time. So if you are somebody who is looking into more ideas for the Wheel of the Year, because let's be honest, there's a lot of ideas. Everywhere has different ideas. Some are going to be kind of repeats, but I think everyone has like a welcoming the sun back for Yule kind of a deal. The author also included that it used to be called dumb suppers and now we call them silent suppers, and I'm like, yes, because I have heard from the deaf and hard of hearing community that dumb is kind of a slur, and so it is best, especially to use dumb to mean silent, just use a better word. Like, there's just certain words that we could just be a little more inclusive and a little more sensitive. And so I really appreciate that they mentioned that it's a silent supper, used to be called. I'm like, thank you. So overall, it was a really good read. If you're looking for something for the Wheel of the Year, highly recommend this book. It's got a lot of really good stuff, some pretty pictures, but on a whole, I mean, it at least gives you some ideas. I would love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to support me and get access to a bunch of stuff, it's patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. If you want to check out my books, they are linked down below. I'm starting again on my 10th book. I've restarted that one so many times. It's fine. It's fine. What is going to be book 10? The world will know eventually. Hopefully this month, but I restarted a project and I'm liking this one a lot more, so I'm sorry. Budget Witch is currently on ice. It has to sit and ruminate a little bit in the brain more because I just couldn't do it. So, got a different one coming in the meanwhile. But yeah, so anyways, if you want to check out my books, they are linked down below. And of course, thank you for getting to the very end of my video. The lighting's getting weird because the sun's going in and out of clouds, so I'm gonna end this here. Thank you so much for coming along, and blessed be.